That person who helps others simply because it should or must be done, and because it's the right thing to do, is indeed, without a doubt, a real superhero.
I don't like spiders. They creep me out. The webs are all over the place, and quite frankly, I'm always worried about getting bitten by one. And I think maybe that's how Peter Parker felt. Maybe before that fateful radioactive spider bit him, he had a fear of spiders himself. It feels weird to try to connect so hard with a fictional character, but after 60 years, I find myself one of almost millions of people who fall in love with that webhead. So what is it about Spider-Man? Well, I think it all goes back to what Stan Lee and Steve Ditko set out to do. Make Spider-Man relatable. The whole point of that mask was anyone could wear it. It doesn't always have to be middle-class white boys such as myself. But honestly, what matters is getting this out of the way. Why do I connect with Spider-Man? My first experiences with the web crawler really came from some toy of him with a spider motorcycle as a young kid. It was a cool toy. I think it's lost somewhere in storage. I remember playing with it a lot. I just don't know where it is. But my first real experience with Spidey was watching The Amazing Spider-Man on DVD in 2014. And while my opinions of the film have soured over the years, I can't deny that watching Peter Parker and truly getting to know the origin of the character helped me understand why people love the web crawler. So as the years went on, I became more interested in the character. I watched more of his shows, his movies, even the comic books. I started gravitating towards my favorite stories with the character. It all got to me why Spider-Man means so much to me. Just couldn't articulate it in words. So I thought I would go and ask others what Peter Parker meant to them and find some answers.
I got into Spider-Man from my parents, well mainly my dad, because my dad, he always used to show me a bunch of things ever since I was younger and stuff like that. And he showed me Spider-Man, then I used to watch it, watch Spider-Man stuff on TV.
I'm a product of the 1990s, so like most people of my generation, my gateway into Spider-Man was through the animated show. And Spider-Man being the kind of colourful, larger-than-life character he is the one I really gravitated to.
Peter Parker is a really relatable character. In comics, I read a couple issues with Peter Parker, and I'm just this is almost basically me. I mean, this guy is basically me. As a kid, I always wanted to be Spider-Man, and now I feel as an adult, I'm becoming more and more like Peter Parker over the years.
He had actual relationship problems, school problems, family problems. That's stuff that people can relate with no matter what age you are. I certainly did, and I was only but somewhere between 3 and 5 years old.
I guess there's something about a character who has power and wants to do the right thing with it. He's not, again, perfect. He does what he can, and he will always do what he can, and that's something you can always enjoy.
I did have a couple of Spider-Man collectible comics, a couple of the Masterworks limited edition ones. I read a couple of those, and they were just phenomenal.
I don't know if it was the very first comic I ever read, but definitely the first comic I ever remember going to the shops myself to buy was the very first issue of Ultimate Spider-Man by Brian Michael Bendis and Mark Bagley, which is still to this day maybe my favorite comic book series.
He has fun abilities, he's smart, he's charming, and he does fun hero stuff.
And what he represents is that idea of the everyman. I think what separates him from a lot of other of the kind of the most famous superheroes, how much when he's out of the costume, he's just a regular guy. He still deals with the same problems that everyone else deals with.
Well, Spider-Man has always been a classic and loved by everybody. And I feel I have no idea, I feel that will go on for forever, because a lot of people like Spider-Man. He's always going to be a classic, and he's always going to be around.
They're motivated to have hope for things, just as how Peter Parker or Miles Morales or any of the other Spider people have hope, even though their lives are crazy as it is. I would definitely say that Spider-Man is definitely a symbol of hope.
Spider-Man means to me is hope. No matter what happens, you can't give up.
And it's that idea of no matter who is under the costume and no matter who is wearing the mask, Spider-Man still represents the same thing, which is overcoming adversity, which is kind of responsibility, putting the needs of others before yourself and being selfless and being heroic and helpful and looking after your community.
I can be able to save anybody just like him.
in school I was always ridiculed and I was always bullied. And then eventually I found someone in comics that I was relatable to. I found Peter Parker, and I saw him as Spider-Man, a hero who saved people from incoming danger, fought bad guys, and I wanted to be Spider-Man when I was a little kid. Now Spider-Man is still relevant today because of pretty much the mark that he had 60 years ago.
It's to me, without Spider-Man, my love of comics and kind of both my kind of personal love and my professional career based around studying and discussing them might not happen. So I guess to me, he's a vitally important character in my life.
Being a hero takes a lot of responsibility. And last but not least, with great power comes great responsibility.
With great power comes great responsibility.
After listening to them, it started to hit me how I do connect with them. Like Peter Parker, I struggle to balance my life a lot of the time. If anything, making this documentary has made me realize it too. And it's hard, especially when sometimes it feels like the whole world is against you. And I've had my low points. But then I remember, Spider-Man doesn't give up. Sure, a date ruined or some overdue bills might bring him down as much as a pumpkin bomb or a robotic arm. But he always keeps going. And to me, that's what Spider-Man is. Perseverance. We all have great power, so why not accept the responsibility as well? And by doing this documentary, I've learned so much that Spider-Man means to me, is that he is a reason to continue to live and grow. And for 60 years, Peter Parker has taught me and a whole lot of other people that. And I have a feeling that he'll continue for generations to come.
Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Spins a web any size, catches thieves just like flies. Look out, here comes the Spider-Man. Is he strong? Listen, bud, he's got radioactive blood. Can he swing from a thread? Take a look overhead. Hey there goes the Spider-Man. In the chill of night, at the scene of a crime, like a streak of light, he arrives just in time. Spider-Man, Spider-Man, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Wealth and fame, he's ignored. Action is his reward to him. Life is a great big bang-up. Wherever there's a hang-up, you'll find the Spider-Man.
Can the Spider-Man come out to play?